Championing the welfare and rights of our diaspora talent, right? So that is, on the one hand, helping Kenyans to find opportunities abroad. So outbound talent, helping people to play well within the global labor market, determining where the opportunities are and seeing how we can help them plug into those opportunities, whether they be jobs or scholarships and education. We do have a mandate to grow our diaspora. But on the reverse side, it is ensuring that those of you who have lived here in Switzerland for quite some time are able to plug back home through skills, knowledge, and technology transfer. Those of you who have learned how to make watches, and who have figured out what the fantastic work of cheese making or chocolate making or whatever it is that your trade is, how do we learn from that? How do we learn how to make banana wine from the Kenyans in living and working in Kampala? And how do we figure out how to navigate the complex UN system from the Kenyans who work at the UNHCR and so on? So that skills, knowledge, and technology transfer is what closes that loop of movement of talent out and then movement of talent back in. So you can think of that as a second bucket that we work on. The third is what we are doing today, which is civil and political engagement, ensuring that our diaspora are plugged into the processes at home. How do we make sure that you're engaged in the national development agenda? One of the things that PS Mweke, for example, is working on right now is developing value chains as far as livestock is concerned. We're working on developing deeply leather value chain. How can you be involved in that? Is it that we ensure that now you become the market that draws leather goods out here to buy? Do you invest in tanneries or wherever else within that value chain? So then I'm just using that because PS Mweke is here, but you can think about that in many, many ways. How do we make sure that you're plugging into national development processes? But also it is ensuring that diaspora increasingly can vote more and more. Making sure that you're involved in democratic processes, making sure that you're involved in law reform efforts and so on. So that engagement and making sure we continue the conversation. The fourth vertical is a money conversation, ensuring that you're saving, but that you're also investing, giving information around how we can invest safely, how you make sure that you don't send money to your cousin who does not build the house that they promised to be building, but when you go back home, you find that your cousin married a second wife, right? And that is where the money sort of went and so on. How do we do that? So for the and creating an incentive framework for remittances, making it easier, cheaper, faster for you to be able to send money home to your families. So for the 2 years that we've been in existence, we've made tremendous improvements in the lives of diaspora welfare, and we continue to work both with our missions abroad, but also with diaspora associations and so on, not just to pursue and ensure the rights and welfare of our diaspora, but also to do all of the things that we've spoken about across our mandate. If you look behind Ambassador Waweru, you will see this house that I'm always trying to explain. And I think, can you all see it?
Yep.
These people cannot see it, but well, let's see if you can sort of see it. So this, thank you so much, Okara. I think the next time we do this roll-up banners, we need to move the house a little bit higher. I feel like every time I speak about this, someone has to lift the house for me. Okay, so the house goes up. But if you look at this, if you look at the diaspora house, you will notice some things. What do you notice really quickly? Sorry, I spent a lot of time teaching at the university, so this is the time for the pop quiz. So what do you notice? What do you see? Yes, Kirabu.
One, it has the Kenyan emblem. Number two, it has like protect, engage, and empower.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the pillars of prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I will say is that quite beautiful house. And the colors of our flag,
Mm-hmm.
somehow accept the brown one, which could have been a bit black, so that maybe
it's just a light in here that is
fine.
Okay, so thank you, Kirago. Who else wants to attempt? Yes.
I like numbers, so I can only see a very beautiful graph there. Some level of growth.
Right. So, right, like Njogu. Okay, very good. What else do you see? Because yes.
Well, it seems like an idea of prosperity is grounded, or the pillars being empowerment and
we're working towards this prosperity using these pillars. Okay. Okay, very good. Yes.
What's interesting to note is that there are several components to it that make the house. So you see there is what would normally be a foundation. You see there is that structure, and there's a roof to it. And that whole, I think, makes what the house would be.
There's a sense in which we're building with different parts.
Absolutely.
Okay. What can you, yes, Younger.
The arrow shows like it's a journey. You not do it one, but the arrow shows step by step until you reach the road.
Okay.
So it's a journey. When you do something, it's a journey, but your aim is to reach it.
Very good. Very good. Yes, Charo.
This thing has been assessed too much. But me, I see something at the bottom there, which is quite important. The bottom-up approach. I think it should be at the top, actually. Because this is what dialogue is, right? This is what engagement, empowerment, and protection is about.
Okay.
So bottom-up approach is what caught my eye.
What you see.
It's grayed out.
It's sort of hiding.
It's like the
subliminal.
Okay.
Anybody else? It's a fine print. Anybody else want to say anything? What do you notice that might be different about the protect as opposed to, say, the engage or the empower? Okay, so yes, it has the ngao on it. It has the, the shield on it.
What it means is that the protect means, maybe, according to my view, the government takes charge of all this and protect whatever you engage in to achieve the goals that are going to be.
Okay.
Could it also be the foundation?
So it is the foundation for sure. Do you notice anything else about the protect? I have so much fun every time I do this because I drew this thing up at the back of my notebook almost 2 years ago. And every time I speak to a different diaspora, there are always new things. I must be an amazing artist. I'm not. But I love how it brings up different things. What do you see about the protect that might be different from the others? Okay, put it a little bit higher.
Seems like it's coming from the outside, and then the other structure is on the inner parts. So it's
okay.
Not really an externality. It's like to come and encompass whatever is on the side. That's why it's stretching much wider than the rest.
Interesting. So you've hit what I was hoping to hear. Thank you, Kara.
Not the original.
Yeah,
it's not the original.
It is wider. It's wider than all the others, and it's the foundation. So it's we wanted to build a very broad, very firm foundation of protection upon which we build the rest of the house. In other words, our approach is to protect first. Okay? Only after we have protected our nationals and our citizens, then thank you so much, team. Now we don't have to lift. We can all see it on the screen. Only after we build on this very firm foundation of protection can we then engage with people. Can we then talk about empowerment, and then can we have conversations about how to prosper. So this is how we do it. We do start with protection. We then engage, then empower. And we believe if we do those three things, the prosperity is a natural progression of that. We do take a bottom-up approach, which is we start from the protection and then organically grow. So I wanted to share with you, and I'm pleased to share with you some of the visible steps that we have done or we have made in creating this department and the conducive environment that we've received for the contribution of all of you, our brothers and sisters who live abroad and who've been working for the benefit of our great nation. So apart from stabilizing the welfare and protecting the rights of Kenyans, especially in the Middle East, which is one of the things that we really put our efforts in when we first began the department. In December of 2022, when I took office, our biggest crisis at the time was labor migrant distress, particularly within the Middle East. You probably will remember that we had a lot of reports, particularly on social media, about women who were suffering and who were finding themselves in difficult situations. And what we were able to do after that is we then were able to stabilize that situation. If you've been paying attention, you will have noticed that has significantly reduced. So that has been one of the things that we really have worked on. I've talked a little bit about the evacuations that we did. We also started a rapid results initiative around mobile consular services, where we were able to take services to well over 100 cities across the world and serve Kenyans in those places, and tens of thousands of citizens have been served. I know you're looking at me because you're wondering how about us. Mungu atukumbuke. When is it going to be Switzerland's turn? Your turn is the last week of January. So that is when we're going to be able to bring you services. We had planned for a little bit earlier than that, but we had significant challenges, and we didn't want to announce for you a date and then we're not able to deliver it at that date. So the last week of January is when we are going to have services in this part of the world. I don't see much excitement around it. I suspect you guys already have all of your services, your IDs, passports, birth certificates, marriage certificates, dual citizenship, driver's licenses. Your documents are all authenticated and attested, and these are not your problems. These are issues our Kenya in Canada and elsewhere. But so that is when we have MCS coming to your part of the world. But MCS is fun beyond us giving IDs and passports. I'll give you some stories. We've had Kenyans, and now I've spoken about Canada, and I'm triggered by Canada, who showed up in
Manitoba.
Yes. And they came for services in Manitoba, and they said, so, we asked, so ID, passport, what do you need? Nimekuja tu kusikia watu wakiongea Kiswahili. And because, he lives so far from connection, and he said, I just saw the flag. I just wanted to come and see. And then he just wants to hear politics. He wants to hear people speaking in our accent. And then, of course, he came and found that we had some Pachko and some Pachko ile permende. We had Pachko. And where are the Pachko? Please, immediately distribute Pachkos. So he came and found
your Pachko when I was still a very young guy. So I wonder how it came about.
So this is Paul. Please, proceed. Chair.
Thank you.
There you go. So and did you know, for those of you who've been away from home, that Paul now even has orange ones? They're not a school, but so it's a scam. So, but these diasporians showed up just to enjoy a bit of Patco and to hear stories from home and to just listen in. So we think that the mobile consular services does much more than just provision of documents. It is a touch point with home and with our culture at home and so on. And in different places, the MCS is going to take different approaches. In places like Saudi Arabia, where we've done MCS, we've also been able to take our counselors, and people are able to meet with a counselor and get some psychosocial support and that kind of thing. And so it will be different, again, based on the needs of that country. What we've started to do now is when we have MCS, then we'll do a party in the evening where even those of you who did need services can come and listen to a little bit of music and pengine to we eat some of PS Mweke's clients, and then just is sort of kujiachilia kidogo ama kurudishia mwili There you go. Yeah. Kurudisha mwili pole ama asante, depending on how life is going for you. So last year we also hosted the first Diaspora Investment Conference where 2,800 of you were able to attend, both virtually and in person. It was an extremely successful conference, and we got to have a conversation around investments, what we could do better, what you wanted to hear from home. And part of that, what came out of that conference is we realized immediately there was a need for us to put in place a diaspora investment strategy, something that addresses some of the concerns that you're raising. Where do I get information about investment opportunities? How can I know that this stuff can be trusted? Or do I continue waiting for a flyer to travel on WhatsApp about houses that one can buy and that kind of thing? So a diaspora investment strategy is then something we began to put together. And we've taken a lot of feedback from the diaspora in just understanding why are you investing at home, or why are you not investing at home? What kinds of investments do you want to make? And so we have a draft diaspora investment strategy, and I want to invite you all now to actually give your feedback onto that diaspora investment strategy. My team is, if they're not currently sharing, they will share shortly a link with you where you can answer a very short questionnaire that just helps us to understand a little more what kinds of information are you looking for and how can you make this diaspora investment strategy a little bit better. So we'll share that, and please share it also with the rest of the communities that you represent, because we want to understand what are Kenyans in Switzerland looking for in terms of diaspora investment. But beyond that, we're able to launch together with the Central Bank of Kenya, the DAO CSD, which I hope you've all heard about now. The DAO CSD is an app on your phone where you can buy directly treasury bills and treasury bonds directly from the CBK, just on your phone where you're sitting now. And you don't have to go to CBK, you don't have to have family or naughty uncles who you send money to do the investment for you, but you can do that immediately. And this has been really important. Most of the uptake for the DAO CSD has actually been from the diaspora, and we've seen a lot of uptake as far as that is concerned. But the question that was raised by P.S. Mweke and by many of you, how do I protect my investment back home, is a question that has continued to come back to us. And so one of the things we are doing, even though we have not finished the investment strategy yet, is we've begun work within our department to set up what is then going to be called the Diaspora Investment Protection Agency. And that agency is going to do protection work. One of the things that I deal with on a maybe not daily, but on a weekly basis, is PS, me and my cousins and so on, we bought land from this particular company. They were supposed to break ground in 2022. They have never broken ground, blah, blah, blah. We are losing money and so on. I'm a lawyer by profession. What I've been able to do is send people to lawyers, right? So you guys speak to so-and-so, and you guys speak to so-and-so, and so on. What we also know is that diaspora, a lot of the people you lose money to is family and friends. So when we tell you, the cousins and the uncles that I spoke about, so when we tell you you need to report this person so that action can be taken against them, nobody wants to report their uncles, their cousins, and so on, because the law is going to come. Yeah, it's family, and the law is going to come down hard on them. But we are not able to intervene if there is no report. So what we've noticed is that diaspora, you just become unhappy and stop investing, but the crooks remain among us. So the Diaspora Investment Protection Agency, which we are working on putting together, will be a body that is tasked with safeguarding your investments in Kenya. We'll do protection work, including helping follow up on things through working with other ministries, departments, agencies, MDAs, helping follow up matters in court, ensuring that when diasporians have cases coming up in court, we can work with the judiciary so that your matters are either fast track, or you don't have to travel 8 times to come home to deal with just this one matter. So this is part of the work that we are working on to make sure that diaspora investments can be can be protected. Of course, you're working with others in terms of ensuring that diaspora investments and diaspora-facing or diaspora-sensitive investments are being done. And I've already spoken about the diaspora investment strategy, and I'm hoping the team is going to share that link very, very shortly. The next thing I wanted I understand that there's actually, for the diaspora investment strategy, the team that's working on that, I believe Karaya is part of that team. Yes, Karaya is part of the team that's working on the diaspora investment strategy, has actually set up a webinar just to walk you through what the draft strategy is going to look like. And we'll share a link for you to be able to participate and come to that seminar. I really, really recommend that you do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have, over the last 2 years, repatriated more than 4,000 distressed Kenyans and mortal remains from various countries. And that includes, the evacuations from the different countries that I spoke about. But repatriating 4,000 people is quite a venture. It's also extremely expensive. But what this means is that, and the idea is for Kenyans to understand that if you do get stuck or stranded or things go completely belly up for you, this protection and this ngao that you see on the Protect banner means something. It actually means that our job is to protect our nationals, and we will come for you. And we do. We have done this in various ways. Some of them are the dramatic rescues that you see, and you will sometimes see us at JKI receiving the people who are coming back from war-torn countries like Lebanon and like Sudan, and those probably tend to be more dramatic. But sometimes it's medical evacuations. Just yesterday, I believe, we did an evacuation and like an ambulance, like an airlift from Tanzania, from people who had a nasty accident in some remote part of Tanzania, and were able to do a medical evacuation of those people. We've done evacuations and rescues all the way from places like Albania. But also we constantly rescue Kenyans who've had mental health problems, and we've had psychotic breaks. Your brothers and sisters, have been found having, things, and somebody is on the street somewhere. And the only way we know this is a Kenyan is because they're speaking Kiswahili, nasi Kiswahili cha Tanzania. It's a little more broken, and then we're able to do something about it. So we've been able to do these kinds of evacuations and to rescue Kenyans. One of the saddest jobs I have done, and I've done it probably every other day, is to bring back remains of Kenyans who have died abroad. It has to be done, and our society is such that people insist on being buried at home. So we have an entire division that actually just deals with this. And part of Ambassador Helen's team has a rota on who goes to the airport to basically meet bodies of people who have died abroad and to support the families. And we'll do the counseling and everything. And it is not everybody that we bring home, because many people do have insurance and they're able to do it on their own. But where people are truly unable to meet that cost, then we have been able to do that. Part of our work is also just to deal with Kenyans who have found themselves in conflict with the law in different parts of the world. So we do visit jails. We visit Kenyans who've been incarcerated abroad, and we've done these in, everywhere. Everywhere we work. Some of the ones I'm thinking about, which are probably a little more dramatic, were Hong Kong, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Thailand, Bahrain, and so on. And this is, again, part of our job, is to visit Kenyans who are incarcerated abroad. If you go on eCitizen, you will find our services there, and you can request services, including requesting for mobile consular services online. If you had all gone and registered and asked for MCS, and I had seen that all these people, look, hundreds of people in Switzerland asking for mobile consular services, a little bit earlier. So, you can request for services. If you have lost somebody and you need to know where they are as a family, and this happens a lot, you can request for a diasporian to be traced, right? So if we don't know where somebody went to Bahrain, and we've not heard from her in the last several months. This is where you make the request. We've created the Global Labour Market Strategy, and I spoke a little bit about helping Kenyans play and find opportunities in the global labour market. And working together with the Ministry of Labour, and that's why you see us traveling together with the Ministry of Labour. We are now like Siamese twins. Part of our work has been to create a strategy that will help us secure placement of Kenyans abroad. And one of the things that strategy has seen the creation of is a Diaspora Placement Agency. Again, an agency whose entire job is to help Kenyans find opportunities abroad. I was going to say that for those of you in the UN and other organizations here, which is a lot of you, if you hear these opportunities, a big part of what we need you to do is to alert us so that we can tell Kenyans to apply. And that is at every level. It is the internships, it is the opportunities, it is also the candidatures and so on. So part of having you in our diaspora is that we get to have ears in the room as conversations are going. Back at home, we're engaging Bunge and the IEBC to see how more Kenyans abroad can vote. Last week, I was hosting a delegation that is called a Diaspora Technical Working Group that is at home trying to see how to expand the rights of diasporans to vote. They were meeting with a number of committees of Bunge and so on, just to see how can we make this diaspora voting a reality. So just to assure you that this is something that we are working on to make sure that more and more diasporians can vote, especially in the coming elections. One of the things we've been discussing today here at the IOM, and one of the charges that Kenya is really leading on, is social benefits portability. After you are done working with Gucci here, when you go home, when you retire, we want you to be able to take your entire pension with you back home. And we think that if we can do this, then we will see more diasporians being able to retire and go home. Many are stuck in their countries of destination because they fear, I'm going to lose my social benefits when I go home. But if I can take my social benefits with me when I go home, then it is easy for me to move back home. And this is one of the charges.
That's the issue here for us, the Swiss, because what I'm soon I'll be going, I'm planning, I'm thinking I'll be retiring soon. But the thing is, medical, so the health is the best, you see. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking if I go home, get sick, I need to come back here, you know. So Kenya, Swiss. So how is the health in Kenya? How is the hospitals in Kenya? How can I be helped? Taking money from Switzerland, it's easy. We have no issue at all. That's because majority of us, we have the double nationality. But for me, I think you're looking to more.
So thank you for that, and we'll get into dealing with sort of some of those questions. But as you're saying, social benefits is across various sectors. It is pension, it is healthcare, it is all of these things. And how can we make it easier for diasporians who want to move home to port some of their benefits? So all of that is to say, really, we're here to support the work that you do and to support your welfare and to see how within, reasonable frameworks, we're able to do that. I wanted to say that we want, and we always encourage diaspora to form associations, which is what you already have here. Because where you come together, then it becomes much easier, not just for us to engage directly with you, but to extend support, whether it is dealing with distress, whether it is engaging the embassy or the High Commission in terms of how you can strategically impact back home, whether it's in the impact work that you're talking about in terms of being able to make a difference back home and so on. So I want to commend you for already having these diaspora associations. and for coming out together here and for being able to work with us. I know they build a sense of solidarity or a sense of belonging, especially when you're far from home. But they also allow us to quickly gather you if there is a mbuzi to be eaten, or when we have, a deeper engagement at a much higher level than mine, to be able to work with you. So last week I was in. Yes, thank you. Last week I was in India, and when I met the diaspora there, something I am doing now that makes me very happy. When I met the diaspora there, I asked them to send greetings. So nimeleta salamu kutoka India. Umepokea salamu za India. Kenyans in India. I do not know where I am going next. It was supposed to be Qatar, but I think Qatar imezama. So I would like you to send me with greetings to the next place that I go. Naomba salamu, mtanipatia salamu zenu. Naomba salamu, unipe salamu, so that the next place I go, I am able to take salamu zangu.
Ni zile salamu za Twitter za
Sikusalimiwa.